Hello there, this is Mabel on Get Alive. Today we are really honored to have a guest with us. And his name is Isaac. He's the editor of Symbal magazine. Hello, Isaac.
Hello, thank you for having me here.
Most people, I think, most of our listeners might not know just what Symbal is. Symbal is Symbal. That's a really strange spelling. Is that a real word?
It's not a real word. It's actually a combination between symbol, as in symbolisms and the symbols that use in literature, as well as cymbals, the Cymbal, the ones that use to make noise, the percussive instrument. So the title was actually came out by the members of the Literary Society. Yes, I'm from the Literary Society, if you do not know that. And they decided to fuse the idea of using symbolisms and for symbols to make noise, not just any noise, but to promote and to champion the budding writers of Singapore and especially in NUS.
Oh, so if Symbal is a publication, so when is the next issue? When can we expect to read great stuff from it?
The next issue is actually in March. So the first week of March actually. So you'll get to read. And we'll feature the winners of our annual creative writing competition. So you actually read great stuff that is actually deemed by the judges, who are professional writers, to be good. And so so you definitely will be able to expect great stuff.
Oh, cool. So we'll be reading the winning entries of a competition. How do we get to read them? Do we go online? And
Yes, we are actually an online publication. Our website is actually issuu.com/symbal, Symbal, and you can access it from there.
Oh, right. So I heard that Symbal is, aside from doing publications and publishing the works of people who submit, they're also trying to encourage more NUS students to write. And in this way, they've created writing activities or competitions. Now, what's that about?
Oh, well, it's actually a new initiative they just came out with a few months ago. It's called Musings, or rather Monthly Musings. You get the alliteration there. It's actually a small little writing competition, which is slightly different from our annual creative writing competition. And that is to, like what you said, to encourage people to continue to write throughout the school time. And we actually have prizes with book vouchers. And all the winners will also be featured in Symbal. And our first competition was in February, and the closing date is the 10th of February, 28th February. The theme is on space, and we encourage anyone who wants to submit to be creative about it. So it could be space as in outer space, or even space as in physical space, politics of space, anything, as long as, creative interpretations are very most welcomed.
So how do we submit?
You can submit by just emailing us at symbalmagazine@gmail.com. Symbalmagazine is all one word, @gmail.com.
So, Isaac, you mentioned just now that you were a member of the Literary Society. So what does the Literary Society do aside from Symbal?
Well, we do a lot of stuff. Mainly it's a form of community between anyone of any major, not necessarily from the English department. We do a wide range of stuff, from movie screenings to book clubs, which we are having every month, to even attending outside events like book launches, book talks. And one memorable event I attended as a member was actually the Jane Austen Regency Tea, where we went there to St. George's Church at Minden Road. And there's dramatized reading of Pride and Prejudice, because the book for that event was Pride and Prejudice, and we even saw minuet dancers where people were actually dressed in costumes and stuff like that. So we get to do a wide range of stuff. We also have contact with the literary scene in Singapore. So sometimes we may be asked to collaborate on activities such as hosting talks or conferences and stuff like that. So it's really a wide range, and the great thing about society is actually they welcome any sort of ideas, and as long as it's good and it's doable within certain constraints, we'll actually try to do it. So that's how we can manage to host such a wide range of activities.
Oh, so it's really like going to a club and seeing a lot of like-minded people who love reading just as you do. And the best part is getting to know all about the cool literary activities in Singapore.
Yes, definitely.
But let's go back to Symbal, Isaac. For the people who have submitted to Symbal so far, are there any really good pieces that you'd like to share with us?
Actually, there are quite a lot, so I can't
So they're all good.
Yeah, they're all quite good. That's why I can't recite it off the top of our mind. But we have quite a few notable submissions, and some of our writers even went on to publish their own collection of poetry, like Gerald Yam. So, and to clarify, Symbal is also open not just to NUS students, but to any students from any tertiary institutions. So from JCs to even NSFs to all the other universities, even SIM. So if you belong to any of those institutions, feel free to send in. If you're an exchange student at NUS, feel free to send in.
So as long as you're in Singapore at the time, is that it?
Yeah, especially for the competitions. But if, let's say, you're a student studying overseas, and you can just send in on just to get it published, but you won't be entered into any competitions.
So I heard about the competitions that you're having. Would there be a reading in Starbucks?
We are trying to do that. No promises yet, because it depends on the availability of space and stuff like that. So what we plan to do is perhaps we'll hold like every 2 or 3 competitions. Then we have like a reading and a recital in Starbucks at Yusof Ishak House. And so it'll be something like the Evening of Poetry Music, where the winners will actually go and recite stuff. And so that you get to hear it and, you can just enjoy coffee and stuff like that in Starbucks.
Oh, let's hope it turns out all right then. It'll be so exciting to hear things going on in that dark, literary sort of feeling, that sort of atmosphere in the cafe, and then hear people read out great works. And right in NUS as well.
Yeah, definitely. Fingers crossed about that.
So Isaac, let's talk about you personally, because after all, we are a lifestyle show. We have to care about the lives of everyone. So as for you, what are your hobbies generally? Is it really just reading and writing?
It's a wide range actually, because personally I'm a philosophy and theatre major. So aside from reading and writing, I love going to performances and even performing myself once in a while. One of my more interesting hobbies, I guess, on the sidelines is actually I'm learning flamenco now, which is a Spanish sort of dance, which is Spanish dance that actually arises out of the gypsies tradition, and so it's quite interesting.
Wow, you've really got an exciting life. But when it comes to writing, do you write poetry and all that as well?
I write mostly poetry, because I don't know, but I guess poetry you do not need that much attention. You can come back to it again. Whereas like for prose and plays, you need to really consider what you're writing, especially for plays. Because now I'm taking a playwriting mod, so now I'm actually experiencing the real difficulties of writing plays, where you have to be so clear as to what the characters' motives are, or their character qualities and stuff like that. So I still prefer poetry, but I'm definitely open to like trying other genres.
So Isaac, what do you like reading and writing?
You mean what do I like about reading and writing, or what do I?
Well, both, I guess. I'm sure the listeners want to know.
For what do I like to read and write? Like I said, I like to write poetry. For reading, it's really quite diverse, from poetry to plays, because I'm a theatre student, so I have to read plays. And even like biographies. Actually, I quite like biographies a lot, because to actually see the famous people, like we have certain conceptions about them, but actually to read more into detail about them and how certain events of their life affect them and cause them to do certain things is actually quite interesting as well. So for reading, it's quite diverse. As for why do I like writing and reading? Well, it's a good question, because I think writing and reading is actually inextricable. A lot of writers, if you go on YouTube and like watch interviews with our local writers such as Robert Yeo and Edwin Thambu, all of them said they came to writing through reading, like perhaps a poem in school or something they picked out when they were in their own free time. And it's really all about communication. It's really all about love of language. And how the love of language arises is from the fact that it is the power of the language and how it managed to communicate. And I'm just reminded of one quite interesting line from a play by Alan Bennett, The History Boys, which is made into a movie, so you can watch that. And it talks about the process of reading and what you get out of reading. So this is the line that goes: "The best moments in reading are when you come across something, a thought, a feeling, a way of looking at things, which you had thought special and particular to you. And now here it is, set down by someone else, a person you have never met, someone even who is long dead. And it is as if a hand has come out and taken yours." And I think the the main reason why I started writing was because I feel that when you're reading something, sometimes you read certain stuff, even though it's about a topic that is quite discussed about or quite written about, but there's just some certain lines that actually will catch you and catch your attention and actually tell you that, hey, this is what is a common thing what you're feeling now, and it's all part of the same common humanity, so to speak, which is like the hand reaching out to hold you. And why I come to writing, well, I hope in a way especially when I constantly improve on my writing, that I could be able to express the same thing as I felt when I read certain stuff, and to be able to communicate and perhaps to hold someone's hand, and for them to actually feel the grasp and hopefully one day, if I'm good enough, they just squeeze my hand back and say, yes, I can identify that with you, even though we are from different time, different space. So it does transcend boundaries, even though we may live in very different cultures and stuff like that. I think it's one thing to say so much about all these things, because I'm sure that most of our listeners who have heard writers speak about this, but I think it's best illustrated by another example. Well, I read this novel quite a while back. It's by Anne Leclerc in Entering Normal. So now I just have to get out the quote from my phone. Yeah, and it's the line that came out is actually during a death of a family, and how does one get over a death? And a lot of people say you just have to move on, or the common thing is that they would want you to be happy and stuff like that. So you heard a lot of that. But what's great about Anne Leclerc in this novel is that she provides a different perspective, and that's why I think that even though while there are themes that have been written about forever, each writer from his own experience can provide his own personal perspective, a different perspective even so, and to hopefully just reach out to readers. And this one really affected me quite a lot because of quite a different perspective in dealing with death. The quote goes, "It isn't memories that keeps us going. Being loved and needed is what keeps us from dying inside." And that's a really interesting perspective. It's not about, keeping onto the memories of one who have passed away to keep up. It's not about keeping those memories that actually keeps us alive. Keeping a memory is just our own way of remembering us. But how do we get over a death? It's actually the need to be loved and needed. The need to be loved and needed that keeps us from dying inside. So what she's just trying to say from this very simple line is actually, it's not so much about remembering someone. Yeah, that's good. We love to remember people, but to really get over death is actually, is actually the need. Why we felt so much loss when someone dies is because someone who actually loved us and needs us to love them is gone, and that's why we felt so much loss. So in that one simple line, it even explains why we feel what we feel, and that's why I hope that why I love to promote the literary culture is because of this communal feeling. And as much as we can go about pursuing different goals and making a living, it's always this, at the end of the day, what remains is all this common humanity and the common celebration of human life. So yeah, it's quite interesting there.
Oh, that's really encouraging, and I can really feel your passion for literature from this, Isaac. And so now we've come to the end of the interview. Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you.
And remember, if you want to access Symbal, just go to issuu.com/symbal. And submissions should be directed to symbalmagazine@gmail.com. Thank you.